7.4 Truncating. Like rounding, truncating is where we make our number easier to work with without changing the value of the number significantly. Unlike rounding, however, we do not look at the column to the right of the number we're interested in to determine if the value goes up or not. Let's have a look at question 1. We need to truncate 8,295 to A, the nearest 10, B, the nearest 100, and C, the nearest 1,000. We need to start off by writing our number in place value columns. 8,295. The 8 is in the thousands column, the 2 is in the hundreds column, the 9 in the tens column, and the 5 in the ones column. When we are truncating to the nearest 10, we need to look in the tens column. The number in this column and everything to the left of it stays the same, but everything to the right of this column goes to a 0. So when we truncate 8,295 to the nearest 10, we get the answer 8,290. Notice how the 5 in the ones column doesn't have any effect on the 9 in the tens column. Part B, we need to truncate to the nearest 100. So we look in the hundreds column. The number in this column and everything to the left stays the same. Everything else goes to a 0. So when we truncate 8,295 to the nearest 100, we get 8,200. Notice how the 9 in the tens column doesn't have any effect on the 2 in the hundreds column. Part C, we need to round to the nearest 1,000. So we look in the thousands column. This column and everything to the left stays the same. Everything to the right goes to 0. So when we truncate to the nearest 1,000, we get 8,000. So to truncate, we use place value columns. The number in the relevant column and everything to the left stays the same. Everything to the right becomes 0. When would we ever use truncating then over rounding? Well, one really obvious example is age. Even if I am one day off my 14th birthday, I still say that I'm 13 years old. We always truncate our age. Pause the video to copy the notes, to check your understanding and to try the questions from I'm giving it a try. Remember to mark your work and reflect on your confidence. Unpause the video when you are ready to try the next question. Question 2. We need to truncate 4.091 to the nearest integer, to 1 decimal place and to 2 decimal places. Let's start by writing out our number in place value columns. 4.091. The 4 is in the ones column, the 0 in the tenths column, the 9 in the hundredths column, and the 1 in the thousandths column. First of all, we need to truncate to the nearest integer. Integer simply means whole number. So for this, we are looking in the ones column. The number in this column and everything to the left stays the same. Everything to the right goes to a 0. So when we truncate 4.091 to the nearest whole number, we simply get 4.000. This is simply written as 4. Next, we need to truncate to 1 decimal place. We are therefore going to look in the tenths column. This digit and everything to the left stays the same. Everything to the right goes to 0. So when we truncate 4.091 to 1 decimal place, we get 4.000. Now careful here, we're truncating to 1 decimal place, therefore we need one number after our decimal point. So I would write this as 4.0. Next, we need to truncate to 2 decimal places. We look in the hundredths column. This column and everything to the left stays the same. Everything to the right goes to a 0. So when we truncate 4.091 to 2 decimal places, we get 4.090, which written with 2 decimal places is 4.09. Notice that when everything to the right goes to a 0, when it's behind a decimal point, that is the same as everything to the right vanishing. Pause the video to copy the notes, to check your understanding and to try the questions from I'm Building My Confidence. Remember to mark your work and reflect on your confidence. Unpause the video when you are ready to try the next question. Question 3. We need to truncate 78.29 to 1 significant figure, 2 significant figures and 3 significant figures. Let's write out our number. 78.29. Now because we are truncating to significant figures, rather than writing the place value columns, I'm going to write the significant figure. 7 is our first non-zero digit, so is our first significant figure. 8 is our second, 2 is our third, and 9 is our fourth significant figure. Let's truncate to 1 significant figure first then. So for 1 significant figure, we need to look at the first significant figure. That column and everything to the left stays the same. Everything to the right goes to 0. So when I truncate 78.29 to 1 significant figure, I get 70.00, which I simply write as 70. Truncating to 2 significant figures then. We look at our second significant figure, 8. That column and everything to the left stays the same. Everything to the right goes to a 0. So when I truncate 78.29 to 2 significant figures, I get 78.00, which I simply write as 78. Final question then. To truncate 78.29 to 3 significant figures, I look at the third significant figure, that is my 2. This column and everything to the left stays the same. Everything to the right goes to a 0. So truncating 78.29 to 3 significant figures, I get 78.20, which I will write as 78.2. Always check that your answer seems reasonable. When we are truncating, we need to make sure that we have made the number easier to work with, but we have not changed the value of the number significantly. Pause the video to copy the notes, to check your understanding and to try the questions from I'm Ready for Anything. Remember to mark your work and reflect on your confidence.